Record on this computer. All right, we are recording. Welcome everybody. This is Jesse Lee, and I'm here talking to Tara Honda, the lovely Tara Honda, world famous singer-songwriter. She was on American Idol and a bunch of cool stuff. And you made it to Hollywood Week, right? On American Idol.
I did. I got booted off pretty quickly, but it was still a great experience. So
yeah. Well, yeah, they don't know what they're talking about. Anyway, so Tara's here today to talk to us about the what we're giving this as a case study for anybody interested in working with me and my program and everything. And Tara is one person I've been working with for maybe just a couple weeks now. And so I asked her, I was like, hey, would you be willing to, just do an interview to kind of like talk to the other people out there who are kind of looking into this, considering it, and wondering if it's right for them. And hopefully you'll have a better idea if this program's going to be right for you. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Tara, why don't you, I've got my interview questions. So sorry if my papers are rattling around, but I'm doing this on the fly. This is the best way I could figure out how to do it. As you can see in my background, this is a very drab looking room, but Tara's background is nice. So, all right, Tara.
My closet.
yeah, exactly. All right, Tara. So tell us about yourself. Tell us about your background. What got you into singing and songwriting and all that kind of stuff. And be as short or as long-winded as you want. And yeah, go for it.
All right. Hi, everyone. I am Tara Honda. I've been singing for a very, very long time, since I was basically like 5 years old. My first performance was my kindergarten talent show. So I've been doing this for a long time. And yeah, I've been pursuing being an independent artist or like a solo artist for, I want to say like on and off for like eight-ish years. So definitely when you start out, I definitely didn't know what I was doing at all. So, and I'm still learning. So, but
we're all together. Nobody does.
Yes. And I've definitely been going further into my craft. I feel like the past few years, even more so, just trying to write really good songs that people can connect with, that will bring others joy, and learning about like myself, the world around me, my faith, my experiences, and kind of processing. And so it's been super healing for me to be doing music and to have music kind of be a way that I can express my heart and my life to others. And hopefully it just brings other people hope and some sense of, you're not alone in this. Because we're all in this. Cool. Yeah, we're all in this together. Yeah,
exactly. We all need to hear that from time to time. Yeah, I think that's super important. It's I would say that's pretty consistent with everything I've seen you put out with your brand. You're just you love your fans and you love to connect with them, and that's just really cool. So good job with that.
Thank
you. So in terms of, so when we got started working together, like I said, it was a few weeks ago. Before that, like you said, you've been delving into this for like 8 years or so. Actually, before we get into the first question, I did want to ask a little bit about like what and maybe kind of how this compares to what you're doing now, but what would the experience was like on American Idol? Because I feel like before we get into these, there's going to be some people who want to know about that.
Yeah, for sure. So American Idol was definitely like intense and humbling experience is how I can put it. I have auditioned. So before actually getting onto American Idol, like actually going before like the celebrity judges and making it to Hollywood Week, which I feel so blessed that like I was actually able to get that golden ticket. I've actually auditioned for American Idol, The Voice, I think America's Got Talent. I forget how many, but I've been in a lot of different cattle calls before. So this was like the first time that like I actually got like, oh, like we like her, let's have her go through to the next round. So so it's definitely something that you have to be really persistent at doing in order to get like that yes. So I heard a lot of no's before even making it to Hollywood or making it on American Idol. But yeah, I mean, it was really great. I met a lot of really cool people, and like, yeah, you're really like, I mean, it's definitely hard not to compare yourself to other singers and songwriters because, you know, you're kind of, you're kind of sort of competing, against one another in a way to see like who's going to get that yes. But there is a sense of camaraderie that I did feel like when people were auditioning, it's like you're cheering each other on for like, like if someone especially does a really amazing job, can definitely remember being in the room at Hollywood Week and like, especially when someone just did like an amazing job, everyone is just so supportive. But yeah, it was definitely very humbling for sure. I think working with, like different interviews and having lots of cameras around you, it was like definitely overwhelming for sure. So, but it was a lot of fun. And I definitely am very humbled by it just because you do see so many different artists who have the same desire that you have to make it and to do a lot of a lot of good things and make a lot of good music and put it out to the world. And so it's definitely like, oh my gosh, you're one of so many people. But it was really cool. So yeah.
Cool. All right. So now since then you've been trying to, like develop your music career even more. So I just want to ask the first main question is, before we started working together, what was your process for trying to basically perpetuate your music career? And I don't know if, just kind of expound on whatever you were doing before.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, definitely like doing as many shows as you can. I mean, obviously, like all the shutdowns and COVID hit, so that kind of deterred a lot of different things with no live music and stuff like that. But definitely sharing covers on like social media platforms, especially like Instagram or YouTube. And then, just trying to, I think finding your process is such a, like, there's a process in finding your process. So like having like, I think I was a little scattered with how I was trying to pursue music and trying to get followers and get people to be interested. And so definitely like posting a lot on social media, talking about, what I'm doing with, different friends or family or just different people that you meet, and doing a lot of shows. And I think definitely I was focusing more on the craft of songwriting to make sure I'm really writing good music before. And so I've been kind of in that zone for a while, but definitely social media was definitely a big thing just to get stuff out there, to let people see it and stuff. So
yeah. That's cool. Okay. All right. Yeah, I think that's where a lot of people are at right now. So I guess if you could describe that in one sentence, what did your process look like before? Just a one sentence, like, boom.
Oh gosh. My process was to write a really amazing song, record it as a demo, and then perform it out to anyone who would listen to it and post it on social media.
Gotcha. Okay.
Or covers and stuff too. I guess covers mainly and stuff. Yeah, before, but
gotcha.
Anyways, yeah.
So what was the were there any specific challenges? What were the challenges you were struggling with at that point?
I think for posting on social media, just because it's such a the industry, there's just a lot of content everywhere of different covers, different musicians, different music, which is amazing. There's a lot of great art out there. But I think you can kind of get lost in the shuffle of it all. And then making sure that like, you're being genuine and authentic with what you're putting out there too. And not, and just wanting to grow like a really organic audience, outside of just like friends or family that like, love you and support you and stuff. And so I think, yeah, being able to reach people that like, outside that you get to meet and stuff like that, and just provide a good song for them to hear, or a good cover, and being able to do that. So
totally. That's it's a not to use the word lightly, but it is a pandemic of, there's what you were saying about just like there's so much out there. I was talking to someone recently and she was saying that there's about 40,000 songs a day that get uploaded on Spotify. Spotify is not even as popular as Instagram. So you're talking just on Spotify with a very limited niche of people, which is just musicians and now podcasters.
Yeah.
But it doesn't even compare to a place like Instagram where it's like, how do you cut through the noise?
Yeah. How do you get your song to get heard to, a larger audience?
I've had numerous, they've all been girls, but they're like, it sucks because like, unless you post a picture of yourself in a bikini, it's like, you don't get any traction really anymore. So it's very unfortunate. I think, and that's something I think a lot of people are just like, how do you cut through the noise? So, what was before we started working together, what was like the worst part about what you were doing?
Gosh, I think it would have to be the amount of, which I mean, I so like appreciate like working and doing like putting out like good content, but I think the time it takes to get it all together, like doing, like I love to do cover videos of like multiple layers and stuff, which I can kind of churn out a little bit faster since I've been doing it for a while. But I think being really perfectionistic and like, this has to be perfect in order to be put out into the world for people to hear. And I think the amount of time trying to, just feeling like, like what you're doing like is like you're not making the traction that you want to make, like just through merely just posting a photo about a show, especially getting people to shows, which I think that has been probably one of the biggest challenges I feel like as a musician is when you do have especially an original showcase, you put so much time and energy into getting a show together, whether it's just by yourself or with a band, and then posting about it on social media to get people to go to the show to support you, or like, give them like a good night of like, oh, I'm going to give you a good night of music. You're going to have a lot of fun. And then there's like, no one who shows, or maybe a few people, but you're like, oh my gosh, like you're so thankful for the people who did, take the time to come to your show. So I think that's that is probably one of the biggest challenges, to kind of go off of like the process of it all, is like getting people to shows is like has been like a big thing. And so I think the time it takes to promote a show constantly on social media is a big thing. So
I was talking to someone about that, and she was saying like, well, it sucks because like sometimes you can't even get booked at venues unless they see that you have like a certain amount of followers on Instagram.
And
I spent years on that. I spent 2 years building I think I had almost 30,000 people on my Instagram. And none of them ever came to my shows because they're all over the world. This is the thing. This is one of the things that I'm trying to get, as I've been working with you, I try to get my clients to the right point of hopelessness about a certain situation to realize like, look, this is not changing. And the thing that sucks for you that this other girl was expressing, she was saying like, like you don't get gigs unless you have a certain amount of followers. And so the venues and the record company, this is why I started, by the way, there's not a name for the course yet because this is the beginning. We're sort of forming it for those watching. The shorthand name I'm giving it right now is Label Killers. And it's because I want to destroy record labels and venues. And that's why we're doing all this to, show how, singer-songwriters can basically make their own career without all that stuff and without having to worry about social media. But what I'm like, the thing that sucks is that the venues and record companies have gotten artists like you and other singer-songwriters to believe that you have to impress them for some reason, and that you need those followers And so it creates a problem for you because now you have to go out, like you said, spend all that time trying to get traction. It just never feels like you get traction.
Yeah.
You know? So super frustrating. So that's why I want to like share with everyone, like, if you don't have to worry about the record companies and venues and you don't have to impress people, then you can almost stop worrying about social media altogether. Not completely. I mean, it has its place, but it's, yeah. Anyway, sorry, I don't want to get too far ahead.
Yeah.
This is about you, not about me and my preaching. They say there's a speech inside every man, and I can feel myself starting to preach right now.
Oh.
So, like, how long have you been? We started working together, like I said, a few weeks ago. How long were you looking for that better solution? And did you get to that point of hopelessness before? I mean, how long were you kind of like searching for that, or were you still spinning your tires up until we were working together?
Yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, yeah, I read somewhere about like, making sure that your art is like really, really good. And so I think for the most part, I was really focusing on like writing and songwriting. But I did buy some different like and they've been helpful too, like some books on like, social, like, or not social media, about like the music industry and how things have changed. But this was right before all the shutdown happened and stuff like that too. So it changed like virtual music and like live shows like virtually, and music sharing just became so much online. And so like that, a lot of it still applies and stuff, but having like a way that like you can really reach people. I think I was definitely looking for and I think, to be honest, I think I was trying just to like avoid the music business part of it because it just kind of intimidates me, because I know there's so much to it. And I just was like, oh my gosh. And I think that, as a songwriter and as an artist, like you're just wanting to make sure that your art is like, really like gonna like hit home for people. And so like, I think I was really focusing on like the craft of it. But definitely getting like exploring the business part of it. You hear different stories about the music industry and just how it's like, so like, gosh, you just, yeah, you hear stories of, good things, but then also like kind of like the, oh my gosh, that was like a not so good thing that happened to like different artists or different people, and just knowing how intense it is. So I think I was trying to kind of, find solutions that, that could help me in the day-to-day sort of thing, but not long-term. So I think I was, trying to figure out, I think a little bit more of like, like how can this help me like right now and stuff. But I think it's been super helpful working with you, because now I feel like long-term goals that are more, like that I feel like, okay, like we can do this, like this. Work. So
Totally.
yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. There's like hope now, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So is there a specific reason, now we've known each other for a while now, is there a specific reason you chose to work with me?
Gosh, well, I feel like because I've known you for so long, and I remember all of the different pieces of knowledge that you would share with me about what you've been learning, and definitely like seeing it all come together. I think I feel like you reached out to me or something like that, and you're trying to share with me something that you found that was like really just amazing. And I think it definitely just, totally brought like the sense of like hope of like, oh my goodness, like this is it. It all makes sense. Like what you were saying, like what like you have been talking about for years of, finding a good process to have these long-term goals, and not feeling so dependent upon these really, these like labels, or the hope of either getting signed or going viral. And it just made so much sense when we talked, I feel like a few weeks ago. And so I just am so like grateful, because I feel like now like I see it now with like other artists and what they're doing. And I'm like, oh gosh, like I'm hopeful that like like that people will recognize what you're offering, and we'll see like the just so there's so many benefits to it. So it just it's just
Cool.
it's great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, so let's just delve into the process you're doing now. We got some beginners out there, so we'll, try to stay away from too technical of language, but just everything that we've gone through so far, and we're still developing it, right? You're not through my entire program. So what has helped you so far? Like, how has this process that we're doing so far helped you?
I feel like I am now seeing myself more as an entrepreneur and a business person than as equally as being a musician and an artist.
Yeah.
And that has, I feel it like each day. It is just so like mind blowing, just because I feel myself becoming more confident just in general. And then also with music, with not being afraid of the business side of things now, which is so, it just, I never thought that it'd be like, oh, like, yes, let's do music business stuff work today. And then now I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Like before, I think I would be like, so now it's like, it gets me really excited because I feel like not only, and I think also incorporating too with like, especially for artists and for musicians, it's like you're telling this story, whether it's your story or someone else's, or like an experience, or you're taking them along a journey. And I feel like the music business part of it, like letting people like know, like, yeah, your journey, and being just really genuine and personable. Like the music business doesn't have to be super like I don't know, like what's it called? I'm blanking on the word. It doesn't have to be so like detached from like the artist part of it. And so yeah, it just it's really cool. So now I like, and I listened to one of your podcasts, and you're like talking about how like you have to look at yourself as a business person and as an entrepreneur. Did I say that right? Oh gosh.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And so I'm just so like excited to feel like when I share about like what I'm doing with other people, I feel like I have an effective way to like really reach people. Whether it's, the small amount of people that I so appreciate that have helped me, or if it's like a lot, then like, it's just, now I feel like the process feels much more clear, and I feel like I have a sense of direction. So
it's measurable, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the thing with social media. It's like, first of all, if you get a like on social media, you can't pay the bills with it. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
But the second, and so that's just that alone. I'm just like really annoyed that people actually have fallen into the belief that matters. But yeah, the other thing is you can't. It's like maybe you see who likes your stuff, but like there's no measurable way to. There's nothing to like. Okay, where's the income coming from?
Yeah.
And this is something. I had to ask myself after a couple of years of growing that Instagram account, and multiple, not just mine. Like I had clients. Like I've grown multiple people's Instagram into tens of thousands, and I mean, it took me like a lot of people wanted me to do an Instagram masterclass to show them how to build their Instagram accounts, and I had to turn it into this because I don't believe in that anymore. Like I think it's useless. Again, maybe not completely useless. It has its place, but it should not the main focus anymore. Yeah. So anyway, sorry, I'm getting on a rant again. This is about you. Okay. Okay. Now this one, just for this next question I have for you, how has this helped you make or save money? Now, I know you mentioned it before. Just so everyone knows, Tara and I have been working together for just a little bit now, and we don't have her system of monetization up and running yet. But we have, go ahead and tell them about like just whatever maybe you haven't made money off of it yet because it's not completely set up, but you can talk about the system there, and then just how much it saved you. For those of you listening, we did something that I'm calling it right now a time to money value of like yourself, like getting seeing your time and your money valued in a certain way. So I went through an exercise with Tara. But yeah, just if you could just go into it. Yeah, how does this either help you make money or save money or find that system of monetization?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know we kind of like jotted down like the comparison of, if it's okay that I share this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just like
I'm gonna probably just let everyone know. I'm gonna make everyone do it anyway. It comes to
okay.
my door.
Yeah, like the comparison of like this, like setting up, preparing and setting up and tear down of a show, like that whole process of it all, especially for one, like for different shows that which it is, I mean, not to say it is really good to play shows and do
Yeah. Oh, of
do that
course.
work, but for
There's no
gaining,
substitution for it.
yes, yeah, I'd build stamina and you build your performance craft, but I think in order to kind of like either like gain fans or following, or to like really kind of like reach people with like your music, in comparison to like to doing a show, like you may get a few fans doing a show, but the amount of time and effort and like teardown setup doesn't equate, like it equates to like, I think I don't know what it was like negative something dollars an hour. If, say like you want to be paid, like either $20 an hour for your work of like, I'm gonna go and prepare a show for a few hours, have a band rehearsal, set up a show, play the show, tear down, drive home. Yeah, and the driving time that it takes to get to a show doesn't equate to like the effectiveness of like marketing yourself online in a way that's gonna really hit the people who do want to hear about your work or your art or your business, and it just saves you so much more time. So I think that part of it, sorry, can you repeat the question one more time, because I'm getting a little.
No, I was just asking, like, how has this either saved you time or saved you money or made you money?
Yes. And so like I think now my focus is on like really bringing, like writing out different stories or like emails and stuff like that, just to keep people in the loop of like what's happening. And so, and then and that's, doesn't take as much time, and you're able to really hit the people who do want to hear about you. And then
and you're not dependent on an algorithm.
Yes, and you're not, because the algorithm, it changes on you, like depending on what different social media platforms going to be like, oh, we actually want this is going to be the way that like you're going to get followers, or you're going to get likes, or you're going to go viral. It's like the lottery almost, or or like gambling. Gambling is a losing game, and it's like a very rare chance of like, I mean, I know there's certain social medias that like you can actually go viral on, but it's very very rare. And so it's like you're trying to win at something that it's like it's working against you in a sense. And so and then as far as like monetizing, like what I do have a store now, which feels like, oh my gosh, like I'm a businesswoman, I have a store like that I can sell like good products, and like kind of have like people being like this, like the Tara's little world of like hope and just love, and and just trying to spread that to other people and stuff like that. So while I do need to, I think it's something technical on my side that I need to fix. So I know I'm making a lot of mistakes and learning a lot along the way, but it's definitely something that feels really, really good. And I had someone reach out and they were just like, oh my gosh, like you have a store, like you have merch, like that's so cool. And so I know like that part of it just makes it feel like, oh my gosh, this feels more like something I can really do to make money and
again, it's measurable. What's just to tell people out there, and I know we talked about before, not everything is completely set up, but to get the foundation of the store, you can make products, you can do all sorts of, but just to get the foundational things hooked up to where you're like, okay, this is up and running and ready to go. How long did that take you?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I mean, you definitely helped me a lot with just getting like the setup going, but I feel like I don't know, like just getting it up and running. I don't know, less than an hour was it or something
Yeah.
like that? I don't know. But getting the designs,
Yeah.
I know for me, I'm kind of particular with like, oh, I want this kind of design. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
worked on like those sorts of things for a little bit, but getting the store up and running itself was so easy. Like it was just, just like a few clicks, especially with the platform that we're using. So it just was so like, it was just so nice. It was just like, it's up, it's running. We tested it out, and then it was just good to go.
Yeah. For those of you out there, Tara and I have talked, because this is something I struggle with too. We talked about perfectionism. Even with me being a perfectionist, and when I've set up my own stores, it just doesn't take more than a few hours. The details, if you want to be perfectionistic, you can always go and work on it later, but just to get the foundation. I think most musicians don't know that you can have your own, this is another thing we were talking about, saving money and making money. It's like, this is stuff that's like, it's printed on demand. You don't have to have a closet full of 100 t-shirts that you lug to shows or CDs, like this is all, anyway. So I just wanted to hear people, you say it, Tara, a complete beginner, set up her own store, a functional store in less than a few hours. Well, actually less than an hour is what you said. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I guess this next question ties into what you were saying before, which you sort of touched on, but if there's any more explicit way you can say it, how has this whole process saved you time? Now we know you're using that time now. You're like, you're still using that time, but it saved you time on doing useless things. So can you explain a little bit of that?
Yeah, I mean, now it feels like there's more of a purpose with using social media in order to direct people to more of like to your own world. And so I think that part of it feels like so I'm spending less time concerned about like posting a whole lot. I mean, I still try to use it just to connect with people.
Again, it has its part.
It definitely has its part, day-to-day stuff or like family stuff, but I think now I am more like, today I'm like, instead of being concerned about like, oh gosh, what am I going to post on social media, I'm like, oh no, I want to connect with the people who follow me, and I want to write out like a good story for them to hear about this experience that I had, or this life that it has its ups and downs and stuff. And so I feel like there's more of a direction of like, having like certain like just technical things just, done. And like, now I have more time to like, okay, like I have a show, in a couple weeks or something. I need to focus on that now instead of focusing on social media and being like, okay, how did I look in this photo? Or like, did I share enough music today? Or did I post every 2 hours on like stories and stuff to beat the algorithm so that, more people can see it? But it's just, it seems a little bit more like I am not quite as like, like I'm a little bit more detached from like the things that like I felt like I had to be super on top of before, like social media followings and concerned about those trivial things like how many people liked this photo, maybe maybe they'll come to my show or something. And so it feels a lot more freeing. So
that's awesome. That's great. That's the real message I want to get across to people, is like, you don't have to be bogged down with this stuff. That's awesome. It's so good to hear. Okay. So let's talk about your results. You haven't been doing this for that long, but what are the specific results aside from getting an e-commerce store set up in like less than an hour, like you said? What are some of the specific results you've gotten so far?
Gosh, so I had a mailing list of like a few people, and granted, I didn't like promote my mailing list a whole lot, but it grew from like having like maybe like 15 or like 7 to 15 people on my mailing list to like almost like 100. Like now I'm like trying to hit that goal of 100 people. But it just feels really good to now. It's like I have a number of people who like support me and care about what I'm doing, and now I have a way to reach them directly. And so that feels really good. And then actually having like, I know for a while, like, recording takes a lot, it's a very long process depending on what direction you go in. But now it feels really nice to feel like, okay, like I've had these many downloads on this song or so many listens. I don't know like how many listens each person has had, but one person just messaged, or I was talking to, it was actually a family member. So I don't know if, I don't know if
that counts.
That counts. Yeah. Okay.
Listen.
Yeah. And he was just saying, he was just like,
it doesn't matter if they're related to you or not.
Yeah, exactly. And so he was like, oh, I listen to it like every day. And someone else was like, oh, I listen to it all the time. And so it feels good that like, oh my gosh, like hopefully like it, your work is out there and it like, will lift people up or help them know that like, they're not alone or, there's someone else who's felt the same way. And so it feels good. So I'm hopeful in the future when I do release music officially, like the official like full length production of a song to kind of measure out like streams and stuff like that. And but it feels good to now kind of have like a way to what you said, to measure the results like in a real way. So
and that's so this is something else I wanted to talk to you about, is like that guy who you said that about. One person was saying like, I know that my fans are out there. Like, I know, like she said, there's a lady that came up to her and said, hey, I saw this thing you had online and like, I'm just so thankful for it. I really loved it. And I listened to it all the time. And it's just like, that's the whole goal of this, is finding those people. Cause like, maybe not everybody answers the emails, but that guy is always going to answer your, anything that you post from now on, he's going to be following you. Yeah. We'll talk about this later. Tara hasn't even gotten to this part, but there's a whole system of viral sharing where you get guys like that to share your stuff for you by incentivizing different types of contests and stuff. We haven't even gotten into that, but that'll probably be part of the course.
Nice. I've been getting some giveaway ideas too, like kind of like rolling around. So cool.
There's a whole technique to that. That's amazing.
Cool.
So powerful. So well, that's cool. So so your results are, you got your own system of monetization, even though it's, like we said, it's not completely set up. You're still working out the little details, but it's there. You have a measurable method of knowing like what are your results. Cause like you said before, when you go to a show and, at the end of it, it's like you spend all this time and money on gas and everything, your gasoline, paying the band. This is one thing that, one thing that as a drummer, this is hard for me to watch, because I know that sometimes in venues in LA, it's like they'll do pay to play, where it's like you have to pay for the spot, which is like crazy. Or if you don't have to pay, they'll be like, yeah, we'll split the profits with the promoter who didn't do anything other than take tickets at the door, so annoying. So I would see the band leaders going through this, because I'm the drummer, right? Obviously we're a front man, but our friend Jessica, Paul, like all these people, I would see them kind of going through the stress of this. And at the end, it's like, there's no way to calculate your net gain or loss. It's just like, well, I played the show and I hope I get some followers online. And it's not a fun system.
Oh, yeah.
So and then you got like, you almost got 100 subscribers, and it's been what, 1 week, I think?
When did I start? I think it's like been, because I was looking back to when I like started, and this is where social media kind of came into play with like just sharing that, like, having like something to give when they sign up for, on my mailing list for like a free, something, I just wanted to give back. But I think maybe around like 2 weeks, maybe maybe 1.5 weeks. So it definitely was like, oh my gosh, like 30, 40 people, 50 people. It just felt so cool to see like it grow. And it's like, oh my gosh, people want to hear like the music. And so
and that's the best part about this. Not only do you get all these amazing results, like you as an artist are encouraged.
Yes.
Like you have to depend a lot less on willpower when you see that somebody else is excited for what you're doing. Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah. Good for you.
Thanks.
Good for you, Sarah.
Thank you. Well, you helped me a lot, so thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, I love doing this stuff. So, yeah, this next question ties in. I think we kind of answered this. It's like, how long did it take you to get these results? We talked about that. It's been just like 2 weeks, something like that. Yeah, I guess this next question, what has gone better than expected? Is there anything that you were just kind of surprised by? Like, well, I started this process thinking this, but also this other thing, whatever, is there anything that pops out to you?
I think it's just this level of feeling empowered. I think I already kind of mentioned this before, but you feel a little bit more empowered.
That's why I do this.
Thank you. Yeah, dude, thank you. Yeah, you feel a little bit more like, I feel not, I have a strong faith. So I know God is in control. But I think now it's like, I'm doing like, you work as if it all depends on you, and you pray as if it all depends on God.
Right.
And working at this, like, I definitely feel like more confident in like, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm going to see results. And so now when I do either, do a promotion or make an ad, I'm like, okay, now I can kind of measure and see like, okay, like, these many people are really interested in signing up and hearing, different music and stuff like that. And so, but yeah, I think like that was something that I didn't, like, I feel like I'm becoming the person I was supposed to be, or like, if it's kind of cheesy, but I just kind of feel like now I just feel a little bit more like I'm even more Tara than I was like a month ago. So, so it feels good. Wow. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thanks. Yeah, it feels good. I mean, I like it. So
that's awesome. Oh man, cool. So yeah, I guess the next part is along this process now, have you hit any roadblocks, and like how have you dealt with them?
I mean, definitely I think it was more technical because I'm not like super like tech savvy as far as like building websites and stuff like that. So I think making the mailing list was more of like just like the technical aspects of that was like kind of a roadblock for me. And then just like either like, spelling errors or just different like small things of like, like technical things with like the shop, with like just making sure it's like really streamlined and stuff. But I mean, for the most part, I feel like they're pretty like, they're just like stuff that I feel like I would normally learn on the way on my own anyway, along with like, if I was doing this process and like going about it in a different fashion, I feel like I'd be like way less concerned about these small things and more concerned about really big things that like I haven't gotten like taken care of and stuff like that, like setting up a store. Like it just feels like I'm like the roadblocks have been kind of just like minor technical things that that I'm just kind of like, oh gosh, like I need to hurry and fix this part. So it's stuff I would have run into along the way anyway. So now it's just kind of like, oh, okay, now that I'm just starting out, it feels like, okay, I'm still learning and still, just going along as, learning as I go. So, but and
it's been a quick process. Like, you've learned quite I mean, you know how to do a lot now, even in a week,
Mm-hmm. So,
we worked through some of that stuff. I mean, it's funny, for those watching, Tara called me a few days ago because she's like, oh man, I had this thing happen where I got, what was it? You thought you got shut down? Like,
so so I was freaking out. So that was the mailing thing. So I had to hurry and figure out a different mailing server. And I was freaking out because at first I didn't read the little description properly or like all the way through, and they were like saying just like, oh, from time to time we disable accounts just so we can review who's like doing different different mailing stuff. And I was like, I've been shut down, I can't get the music to everyone that I promised them. And I think I was just really concerned because I was like, even though I released the song at midnight, so I'm like, oh, a lot of people are probably gonna be asleep, so that's, I guess, okay. But I think I was like, oh my gosh, what if people are like waiting up for the song, and I want to be able to be like, this is like, here it is, right after midnight. So I was, thank you for helping me with that, because that was super.
Pretty funny. I was like, all right, first of all, I've gotten shut down in way worse ways than this before.
Oh gosh.
And here's the thing about that shutdown: it's different than social media. Which it wasn't a shutdown, right?
It was just
if you got your hand slapped forever, it's like you still have your own list of contacts. If you get shut down on Instagram, they're gone.
Yes.
You have no way to
Yeah.
contact them anymore. So, yeah. So again, building your own ecosystem. That's the point we're getting at here. So,
Yes.
now, okay. So, thinking about the beginning of this process, how has it changed, like how you feel as a growing independent artist and how you're growing it? So think back to where you were before we started walking together and where you're at now. What's mentally changed for you?
I mean, I think again, I feel like I have more confidence in like this track that I'm on.
Yeah.
Just to like reiterate, like this shift that I've had, just like body, mind, and spirit, just being like more like I have like there's work to get done, and I'm really excited to get this work done.
Yeah.
So I think that for me feels like, yeah, like I have like a process that I can see results on. That has just been so amazing. So, but yeah, sorry, I'm trying to. So sorry, can you repeat the question one more time? And so just to make sure that I answered it
How do
properly.
you, like basically, how did I say it? Let me phrase it the right way. Think back to the beginning of this process. How has it changed about how you feel as you're growing your career as an independent artist?
Yeah, I think I'm just wanting to I think like the perseverance and having like a steady stamina along the way is just what I want to see happen for the future. And that's from the start of it, it just felt like each day that I was learning something new that like we'd call or talk or something, I'm just like, oh, that's really cool. Let me implement that like as soon as I can. Like I think I remember like implementing like the mailing list, and I was just like, oh my gosh, it's up and running, check it out. And then it's like, oh, I got more people signing up. Like this is so cool. And so it just seems like, it just the process feels like a little bit more like, like I'm working at it like a steady pace now, which is really cool. So
yeah, and you have sort of a predictable way of like knowing, okay, if I devote this much time or this much money, I'll get X amount of results, whatever.
Yes.
Whatever they are. So
yeah,
that's great. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. And then let's see. Okay, we're on this next page here. Yeah. So what would you say to another indie artist who's kind of stuck in the old process, or maybe who hasn't even gotten started yet?
Go talk to Jessie Lee Yarbrough.
Exactly. No.
Yeah.
That's cool. No, I like seriously though. I mean, I get maybe you're serious, but what's the expound on that a little bit more?
Well, I feel like because you're so passionate about helping people and like getting people going and like getting their businesses up and running, or songwriters with like the following, like I just the excitement and the passion is contagious, because then I feel like it's kind of like, like I can do this. So, but gosh, if someone like, if I saw like I feel like kind of touching on that, I remember I had someone reach out to me about like why I was like making the song not available on Spotify or like on all streaming platforms. I think I remember mentioning you about that, and and I didn't know quite how to respond a little bit, and I think I just said like, oh, this is just the kind of like the path I'm just gonna try to take right now and just kind of learn as I go, and then I think just sharing, because then you sent me that podcast, and then I just shared that with him, and so it just was because I think now I can see where like other musicians are wanting to get likes and streams and views and stuff like that, which is great. And I think it is nice to know that's like, oh, it is getting traction, you are getting likes and views. But that is just kind of what you said, like likes and views won't pay the bills. It may help in certain ways, like then you seeing like, oh, this person, I'm checking out some of their posts and like they're getting, but I mean, as far as like that goes, it seems like this way of either just building up your own ecosystem, having a little bit of, and you can do it organically too. I feel like from people from sharing it on social media, which that kind of plays into it, with people who do like love and care for you and like want to see you succeed, then they'll come on you with this journey, in your own ecosystem, building up a mailing list, having something to offer, for free, I feel like is something that has just been so beneficial, because I feel like, as much as I know that like, I'm like, I did pay out of pocket for this song, but I want to give it back to you for free. Because it's just my heart that I put, like, pour, you pour everything into a song, and it's just like, you just want people to hear it. And so it's like something that like I'm happy to do. And so I think having that, and now that I see the process, I can see other artists who are like, either like trying to figure out what like their process of doing things too. And not that, I mean, there's definitely, we all learn from each other, all learn different, things and stuff like that. But it just, it seems like now I'm like less concerned about like, oh, what's my likability like on social media, and more of like, who wants to, be a part of this adventure with me, and that feels more of a focus. So
that's beautiful. Yeah. And I wanted to ask another question that I didn't have it written on here, but you on the level of competition when you were doing the American Idol thing, and how you're constantly comparing yourself. And that's one of the people I was talking to when I went through the interview process of debating if I wanted to even do this, what we're doing, like do this as a course. Accidentally thought I stopped recording for a moment. I'm like,
oh no. Oh my gosh.
The level of competition you said you kind of had to have, even though you were encouraging. But one of the things that somebody said about just spending all this time on social media, and she was just saying like, like it's draining being on there, because first of all, you go on there to promote and post, and then you end up spending hours on that you didn't plan on spending. And then you're also like, you're constantly contending with other people who are doing better than you, or at least they look like they're doing better.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And so now, what I'm showing you is like how to build your own ecosystem. And then your likes and all your streams and everything, they overflow from that ecosystem. It's not using the likes. You're not trying to get the likes and stuff on social media. It's like you're building your own ecosystem. And as you build that, it builds these incredibly devoted followers, like the guy you were talking about. And now that he's in your ecosystem, he knows how to get a hold of you on these other platforms, and he can go there and do that. And so your devoted ecosystem overflows. But I just wanted to ask if you could comment on like, comparing yourself to other people, and now kind of having this system, and like how has that changed for you?
I mean, now it seems like I'm more, I try to do this. It's funny because I had a conversation with a few friends, like a few weeks ago about social media. So it was like, we talked about it for like an hour about like, what you're posting, how it comes across, and all these different things too. And I think, I've definitely been posting a lot of photos of just like me in a red dress, like all over and stuff like every day. So part of me feels like, oh, I hope like, it's not like, oh my gosh, look at me in this red dress. I'm like, no, go listen to my song. Like, go to this, go here. And so, but it's so like, it is a weird place to be, just in our day and age, where like we can see what people are doing, and what like people post all the best things about their lives, and like all the best photos, the best angles, like, and all of like their joys and triumphs, which, you do want to see that and be like, yes, that's awesome. But it can, I think for me personally, like I've talked about this with another friend too, about like, comparing yourself to others it's so difficult. And I think it doesn't go like, it's hard, like knowing that like it, like the comparison doesn't go away, but I think it, in a way, it's like I've been trying to have this mind shift that I'm like, if someone has like a cool release or something awesome happening, like, it's like wanting just to cheer that person on, just to know that like, this is, because we don't know everyone's experiences and all the valleys that we all go through at times. And so, but yeah, it is hard. I feel like social media can be definitely, definitely a thorn, when it comes to seeing so many people either doing well or doing a lot of different things. It's like sometimes, you know, if you're in like a kind of a not so good place, and you can kind of be like, oh my gosh, this person's doing so well, and look at me, like I'm not at the point that I wanted to be at. And I totally like have gone through like, and I still do like go through like those moments of like, oh my gosh, like that's really awesome, this person's doing super well. And then you look at yourself and you're like, oh my gosh, I wish I was at that level. So yeah, I think the comparison, I think that's something that like the authenticity of knowing that like, you know, when you're sharing a post, like knowing that like, yeah, you know, you try to be vulnerable, positive. That's at least how I've been trying to do, is like you try to be vulnerable, positive, and knowing that like that like, yeah, we all have our days, you know, that we compare, and comparison seems like a little bit more like more prevalent, but that like, yeah, you know, you're seeing snapshots of just like people's best moments and stuff. And so so it's definitely it's a weird place to be on social media right now. So
yeah, but think about the system you have now, because you're not worried about comparing. It's like you're no longer because you now have your own measurable system, and you can see the data of like, here's how my business is growing. It's not attached to like, well, how many likes did I get, or like who is getting more attention than me, or whatever. It's like you've taken that off, and now you actually you're comparing the only thing you're comparing yourself is to your own results, and then trying to optimize to get those better. Like, you know, you're getting this many new fans per week. It's like, okay, well, what's the next thing I can layer on top of this to build the system a little bit more, to just get or 2 more per week, or
just 1 more person each day, or just
exactly.
just reach one more heart.
Of measuring, that's where you're doing the comparison. And it's not like beating yourself up with comparison. It's like, okay, what do we do right? What do we do wrong? And let's see if we can optimize.
Yeah. You know? It's so, like, totally bouncing off of that too, is like, instead of comparing yourself to other people, it's like compare yourself from who you were yesterday, you know, whether it's like a, you know, your spiritual, mental, physical, like, you know, or like, you know, work your, like professional, especially if like, you know, pursuing as like musicians, it's like, it's like, how can I write, like if I'm writing like a song that I'm like, oh, that was good, but I'm like, I can write better though. So let me you know, the next day it's like, okay, let's write something better than we wrote yesterday. So it's like you're trying to compete with yourself, you know, just to just improve and be a good person and totally. Share love and stuff. So
and this is something we haven't covered either, but later on in some of the stuff we'll talk about is like, how do you all those people you were comparing yourselves to before, how do you basically become best friends with them, and you guys all grow in your marketing efforts? That's something we haven't even touched on. I'm super excited about that. Super powerful. Cool. But it's something that, as I was going through again the interview process, I interviewed like a ton of people, just like got on the phone with them, and I realized like I went into this to show people how to market their music, but like the byproduct is like people are becoming healthier. Like they're becoming more balanced, because now they have like a better system to like measure their results and grow by, and it's not based on popularity on some stupid app.
I know,
right?
It's oh my gosh,
my God. So that's really good. So let's see. So I guess, I don't know, did we cover this? What's your advice to others who are you said talk to Justin. Thank you for that, by the way. Appreciate that. So what do you see as like the long-term impact of working with me?
Being an independent artist with a way of having a decent and good income for the future, and repeating that process over and over with every song release, every album release. So I definitely feel like it just constantly, I just feel like I'm just being pushed forward into like this new level of professionalism and artistry where I'm able to look at myself a little bit more confidently of like, yes, I'm an artist. Yes, I'm a business person. How can I serve you? And how can I help you have a better day with my music? And so,
That's awesome. That's amazing.
Thanks. Yeah. So that's just,
Cool. Sweet. Well, do you have any final thoughts at all, or?
Gosh.
I think I've asked all my questions.
Yeah. I can't think of anything right now, but just that, like if whoever, listens to this is just know that there's always hope. Like you can find yourself in, pretty, big valleys and stuff, but there's always hope. And I think just knowing that like you're never alone on the journey. And I love that. I can't wait to hear about it, about like, kind of musicians kind of like banding together. Cause I feel like, musicians pay can be pretty minimal as far as some gigs go and stuff like that. And people, streaming services where it's like you're getting 0.001 cent per stream. It's like, we need to all come together so that we can be this industry that can show, the people who are big and like on top that like, we our art means something, it's worth something, and we should be paid and treated with, with this sense of like, okay, how can, just kind of as musicians just come together and just and lift each other up. So
that's awesome. Yeah, it's funny you were bringing up this just real quick, the streaming thing you were talking about, like a half a cent per stream or something
like that.
When I first saw like the first few days I was working I had a couple different things that I was doing where I was promoting a couple different offers of mine and some other people's. And when I saw like in one day, I think I made like, it was the first day I made like $100 or $200 or something like that off some sales. And I was just like that just happened.
Yeah.
That happened. And it wasn't from Spotify and it wasn't from Instagram likes or anything like that. And it was just like, it was amazing. And that's when I knew I'm like, I got to share this with other people. Like,
Thank you.
I think what you were talking about, like knowing your worth and deserving to be paid, this is something that's amazing. Like, once you start to, because if you can, like, this is something I'm trying to get across to people, you can comment on this. Once you can build your own audience and you know how to monetize them, like you don't need the record companies. Like you absolutely do not. And you don't even need necessarily like high paying venues. Like those will be a plus to this whole system. But now you can be like, is this gig going to stress me out? Yeah, it's going to stress me out. I'm going to say no to it because I don't have to worry about it, or impressing other, like if you have a certain, like with our measurable system, right? If you have a certain amount of fans in a particular city and location, you can leverage that with venues to be like, like I know that this many people are on my list who live right in your area, and I can send an email right now and see how many tickets I get. And you'll see that, if I have 2,000, 3,000 people there and you need me to bring 100 people in, like I can send one message to them and I will know exactly how many tickets are sold. And so to me, like the biggest part about like knowing your worth is like saying no to the things that are going to waste your time and being paid what you're worth. But just, I don't know if you can comment on that, just seeing the paradigm shift of like, oh yeah, if I do this right, then I don't need people.
Yeah. Like, or I'm sorry, it kind of cut out at the very end of that. You don't need
sorry. Yeah. I was just saying like, if you, I don't know if you can comment on like the shift of like, well, now that you're building your own ecosystem, you don't need to impress the record companies or labels or venues or anything. So I'm curious if you have anything to say about that.
Yeah. I mean, it feels, I forget what it was that I think it was in this book that I was reading. And I remember talking about this with a friend, or like talking about like, there's like 3 factors that go into like saying yes to a gig. Like, is it going to be fun? Am I gonna make connections or good connections, or is this gonna stress me out, or like, or am I gonna be paid well? And just knowing like the measure of that all, and knowing that like, you know, whether I forget how it was measured, I'm probably botching it right now, but like, yeah, like if it's like you get like a 2 for one factor, a 1 for another, and like a 3 for other, depending on like out of 10 or something like that, then you can be like, okay, no, this is gonna be like not a good gig. Yeah, and I do think that like having said yes to most gigs, which there can be a benefit to that because you're building up your performance and you're building up like your strength, your stamina. I think that is like has been a benefit, but now as like, you know, I think being like more like this is like, you know, this is my craft, this is what I do, and you're allowed to say no to certain gigs that like aren't gonna benefit you or the venue, you know, depending on like, what, you know, what city you're in, and say maybe you don't have a lot of fans in that city or something like that, or if you feel like it's like, oh, the pay is really not going to be worth it for me to drive, you know, this many hours or do, you know, do a 3-hour set or however long. And so it does feel a little bit like definitely more like
I
have more control. I don't have to be like, you know, being like, yes, or like, you know, hustling at like, you want to work hard, obviously, and work smart and like put out good music or whatever business you're doing and stuff. But it does feel like more empowering, and like you have a little bit more control over like your schedule, more of like, it's like I have, you know, this slot of time today to work on this, and this. And now I can, like, if someone asks me something, I'm like, well, actually, I actually need to work on this stuff because it's going to be more beneficial for me in the long term to do this. So,
And now when you go back to shows too, you know, where the whole thing we're talking about here is creating your own ecosystem. It's like now, once you have kind of the foundation there, now you can go play these shows and you have your bait ready for trying to find your hyper fans.
Yes. You're 1,000 true fans.
1,000 true fans. So you can go and you can go to that gig and you can have that measurable result that you can say, okay, you can measure at the end, how many hours did I invest in this? And what was the payoff? Well, I got 10 new fans, and I know that because I have like, I captured that, like I captured that data. So that's awesome. Cool. I'm so happy for you, Tara. That's amazing.
Thank you.
This is the first time, everyone, just so y'all know, Tara and I have talked a little bit about the stuff, you know, and she's dropped hints. She's like, I just feel so much less stressed about the stuff. And, you know, now you have a lot more to do in terms of like, not more in, how should I say this? You have the tasks that you know you need to do, but you've cut the needless ones out. And, you know, this is the first time I've really asked Tara like all of these questions. So I really appreciate it, Tara. This is the first time I've heard you explain those in depth. And now I see how beneficial it has been for you. And I really appreciate it. And thank you for being on board. So yeah, if that's all on my end, I got my questions. If you don't have anything else to say, I can stop the recording in a moment here.
Okay, cool.
You know, goodbye. I don't know.
Yeah. Bye, everyone. And it's been, thank you so much for having me. And
wait. Before we go anywhere, I forgot to ask, where can people find you?
www.terahonda.com.
All right. Yeah. And I understand you have a free song download there.
I do have a free song download. So when you sign up, you'll get an email, you know, pretty soon after of this acoustic version of my song that I have available right now. So go on ahead, sign on up. And then the official version of Wild will be out on July 23rd.
Awesome. Which people can also get through that link as well. Yeah.
Yes, I believe, I think I'll probably be sending out a new link, but you sign up on the mailing list and I'll keep you in the link.
Just hop on the mailing list. Okay, cool. Yeah. So for those of you listening, what I'll do is wherever I post this, I don't know where it's going to be, if it's YouTube or my own website or whatever, I'll post your link there as well so people know how to find you. So
Cool.
All right.
Awesome.
Sweet. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Y'all have a good day and see you in whatever next video I do. I'll talk to y'all soon.
All right.